What's up, everybody? My name is Trent. Today we are bringing you Music and Motivation with Maxwell Ivey. Max is better known as the blind blogger, and he wanted to lean into his fear of singing in public. And guess what? He's going to do that mixed with motivational messages. We did a live event, and we decided, you know what? It was a long event. Let's break this up into digestible bites so you can get all these wonderful messages that Max has presented, and we're going to put them into weekly episodes. So each week, look forward to another song and message from Max. And with that, I'm going to turn the time over to Max.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction, and thanks for also being willing to be part of this adventure, this experience, this challenge that is really the culmination of 3 years of thinking and talking about it, but it goes back much farther than that. It goes back to when I was entering junior high school and starting to lose more of my vision, and also at the same time, my voice starting to change. Since I was having less ability to see people on the screen, I somehow got it into my head that a lot of people who sang on television and other places, they didn't move their mouths at all or as much. And so I tried to sing that way, and it didn't come out right. It didn't work out right. Instead of helping me understand why it was that it was wrong, people just laughed at me. And then, of course, as my voice started to change, I went from an alto to a tenor. And at one point, the choir that I was a member of, I was actually encouraged not to sing at a competition and to just pretend like I was singing the words, because they felt that other members of the choir felt that we had a better chance of winning that way. So really stuck with me over the years. And it's one of those things that's hard to get out of your head once you get it in there. But thankfully, I have gotten to the point where, I now sing more often on my podcast when I give public talks, and especially today. And I'm going to share a little bit more about that progression as far as my singing as it applies to my website and my podcast, because it's part of one of the messages I want to give to you today. And I'm going to do that after I sing my first song. So I do appreciate everybody that's here to help me take this next step in my journey, and to face another fear, and to have another adventure, even though this one doesn't require me to leave the house. A dream is like a river, ever changing as it flows. And a dreamer's just a vessel that must follow where it goes, trying to learn from what's behind, and never knowing what's in store. Makes each day a constant battle, just to stay between the shore. And I will sail my vessel until the river runs dry. Like a bird upon the wind, these waters are my sky. I'll never reach my destination if I never try. So I will sail my vessel until the river runs dry. Too many times we stand aside and let the water slip away, till what we put off to tomorrow has finally come today. So don't stand upon the shoreline and say you're satisfied. Choose to chance the rapids and dare to dance the tide. And I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry. Like a bird upon the wind, these waters are my sky. I'll never reach my destination if I never try. So I will sail my vessel until the river runs dry. And there's bound to be rough waters, and I know I'll take some falls. But with the good Lord as my captain, I can make it through them all. Yes, I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry. Like a bird upon the wind, these waters are my sky. I'll never reach my destination if I never try. So I will sail my vessel until the river runs dry. Until the river runs dry. You know, that song and just continuing to sing reminds me of a message I wasn't going to share with you today, but I think it's a good fit because before we started, me and Trent were worried about technical issues. And recently, while speaking at PodFest, I decided to try my hand at karaoke. And I didn't do so well because I didn't have anybody to tell me when the words were on the screen so I could stay in sync with the music. And the first verse was horrible. The second verse was pretty good. I was in really good sync by the end of the third verse, and people applauded. And it reminded me that as long as you keep singing, good things can happen. And I sing the river because it's a perfect example of my life and the many places I've gone between where I started out in the carnival business to where I'm at now. And so I just want you to think about this for a minute. Imagine being where you want to be, doing what you want to do with the people that you want to have around you. In 2003, I was traveling the country, mostly in Texas, with my family's carnival, working with my dad, my mom, my brothers, helping to build a business. And in 2003, my dad passed away to lung cancer. We tried to keep the show going for a few years and were successful for a little while. But after 3 years and missing some insurance payments, we finally realized we weren't capable of keeping it going on our own. So we joined forces with my Uncle Albert's Carnival. Once that happened, I could see that there really wasn't going to be a place for me and my games on his midway. And so I started thinking about what am I going to do next? And at that time, I felt like, well, the only thing I know how to do is to help people sell used rides. So I started a website called the Midway Marketplace to help broker amusement equipment. And so I want y'all to think about this. I did this in 2007, before WordPress, before Wi-Fi, before Facebook, with no money, no skills, no talent, no experience. And somehow I managed to make it work. And I was able to do that because I applied the same things that I had learned over the years in the carnival business, which was there are always solutions out there. You just have to be willing to look for them. And then once you find them, you have to be willing to implement them, no matter how distasteful they may seem. One of my favorite memories with my dad is us having to go back after some rides we left behind, being in the process of tearing them down, having to reach above our heads to load the equipment onto the trailer. And every time I reached up, my pants fell down. I'd get my pants situated again, and we'd go to lift again, they'd fall down again. And finally, I told my dad, I said, I don't care if there's people watching or not. Let's just get this thing loaded, hook it up to the truck, and you can buy me a belt or suspenders on the way home. And that's, one of many experiences over the years that taught me this lesson, that there are solutions out there. You just have to be willing to find them and willing to use them. And that's really how I got online, because in 2007, I was a blind computer user. And at that time, there really wasn't there wasn't WordPress or GoDaddy or any of these other things that, basically you can do it yourself easily. I had to teach myself how to hand code HTML. And I did that by first asking other webmasters how somebody like me would build a website. And they told me that I should go to the w3c.org schools and learn, use their tutorials, and go one step at a time, which is what I did. I went to those online things, and I learned how to create my page. I learned how to create links, embed photos, create an email link so people, when they clicked on it, they could send me an email. And I was doing really good until I got to the point where I had to pick my colors. And not knowing what the colors would look like, I just decided to go by their names. So I picked yellow for the background, blue for the text, red for link text, and orange for previously clicked links. I would later find out that the yellow was ice screaming yellow, the blue was a dark navy, the red was a dark brick, and the orange was a fluorescent orange, like something you'd see on the side of a honky-tonk. I've been told more than once over the years that first website was so bright that Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder could have had an argument over it. But it was a way to get my website online. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't anywhere close. Obviously, anybody else could have done it better than I did it, but it was a solution. It was, this is what I need to do. I need to have a place where people can look at pictures of the rides and games that I want to sell. They can make a phone call or send an email and hopefully get people together. And as a result of focusing on attracting new clients and selling the equipment, I sold hundreds of thousands of dollars of rides on 5 continents over the years. Most of the time having a website that a lot of people might have been ashamed to show to their friends. But it happened because I focused on what I could do, on doing the things that I was capable of at the time, and really not paying attention too much to the things I couldn't control. And I really love sharing that story, one, because it usually makes people laugh, and I enjoy making people laugh, but two, because it's a reminder that when we focus on the wrong things, we can hold ourselves back. And this whole idea of perfectionism versus just good enough is one that so many people struggle with. That's one of the main reasons why I love talking to groups about facing fears and launching a podcast, or facing fears and launching a blog, or publishing a book, or whatever that creative goal is that somebody has. So I built my first website and was continuing to work on the website, but I'm one of these people, I'm always wanting to improve. So eventually I got it in my head that I wanted to record videos, and I got the camera. I got it set up to record. I sat down to record and then realized that I didn't have an intro or an outro and didn't know how to make one. So I thought, what is there I can do that I have right here handy that will allow me to get my videos, because I didn't call them a podcast yet, allow me to get my videos on the internet. And I thought, well, I always liked to sing, even though over the years I stopped singing because people made fun of it. But maybe I could just sing on the intro. So I did the first few bars of Christmas Carol by Nat King Cole, which it was almost the end of the year. And I'd given myself a goal of having the video out by the 1st of January. And I recorded that as my intro. I talked about I think it was a sky coaster that was for sale on the website, posted it to YouTube, and people said they enjoyed the singing. They asked me to do more of it. It eventually led to me recording full-length videos of me singing for other people. And as I've gone along, I've sung it for podcast hosts that realized how much I love to sing, thankfully, because it says so on my profile. And also at public talks. And thankfully, due to a friend, Azuka Zook, who saw me sing after DreamCon in Philadelphia, my first public speaking event, it's become something I do more and more, to the point where here we are today. And, I'm still nervous about doing this. I still don't know what the response is going to be to the music part of this or the talking. I know that back when I used to pay more attention to my YouTube numbers, my music would get more listens than my talks. So I sometimes wonder if maybe I should even sing more. And hopefully y'all will tell me a little bit about that later when we do the question and answer. So those are a couple of examples of where I decided to find solutions instead of making excuses. And the solutions showed up. And sometimes there were solutions born out of my own ingenuity or creativity. Sometimes it was the help of other people. But solutions are all around us. Finding a way through to whatever your big goal or your big dream is possible. But first you have to decide, then you have to really look until you find something that might work. And then you have to be willing to try it, no matter how silly or stupid or inept it will make you look. You have to be willing to be embarrassed in order to accomplish your goal. And I sometimes wonder how many people are just like, there's this long list of stuff I'm just not going to do to get to that next place I want to go to. Whereas, I spent 15 years helping drag a carnival around the country. There's not a lot I didn't do or wouldn't have done to get that carnival to the next town. And it's one of those things that's gotten into me, and it's become a big part of me. And it can become a part of you if you practice finding solutions and practice implementing the solutions. And the one thing I just like to remind people is that the world is not the Olympics. There are no style points. They're not going to award you style points. So stop trying to win them. In fact, most of us learn better from our mistakes, from our failures, from our setbacks. And so I'm hoping that many more of you will get past the perfectionism that's keeping you from taking that next step, from launching your podcast, your blog, publishing your book, or more importantly, telling other people that you've done it. One of the solutions that I've found recently was in the area of being an author. A lot of times when you tell somebody in person you're an author, you get that response like, oh, heck, not another one of these yahoos. But I found that if I started carrying copies of my books around with me, and I tell somebody I'm an author, and they go, oh, yeah, you're an author. And I go, yeah, here's one of the books I've written. It totally changes the whole conversation. And no, I didn't put the book up there to sell one, although the next time I do this, maybe I'll think about that. But the point is that I got tired of, and I'm sure a lot of you have gotten tired of just the reaction you get when you say you're a creative entrepreneur. So if you're a musician, maybe carry a couple of your CDs around with you.